as we go. And then if there is another tie in that, we'll go to total volume lifted, because while this is a video game, this is also a gym, and there is some fitness aspect to it. So our first matchup of the night is going to be Shane versus Preston here. I cannot wait to get this started. I've been telling everyone I know about this, and they're like, hey, it sounds kind of cool, but I really don't know what it's like. I'm really excited for everyone to see exactly what this looks like, Amber, as we see some of the tutorial that you'll go through when you sign up.
Yeah, this will be a great first matchup, and I'm going to love sharing the game and how it works with everybody here.
Yeah, so I mean, I will say, I'll admit, the first couple times you go, you're like, okay, come on, I want to get going here. But they got to explain how it all works. I mean, you'll see once we get into the match with these Diamond League players who are the top of the top, how it really works. But yeah, basically you have some rope cables there. There's the 2 lanes you can see, one on the left, one on the right. Mm-hmm. The gates that are the 100%, you got to destroy those, and then you can attack the crystal, which of course is the name of the game, destroying as many crystals as possible to be able to move on to the next round.
Yes.
And I mean, so do you have a preferred lane? Do you just go back and forth? I mean, because usually, you want to destroy one lane and the other because you want to rack up most points. This time, they're probably just going to be powering down one lane. So do you have a preference at all?
I actually let the AI lead me in that. So I go ahead and load up my exercise and then wait to see what they're deploying. And once they drop that in a lane, then that's kind of the lane I stick with for the rest of that round. The AI typically alternates. But some people, they're all right all the way through all of the rounds. But I just like to at least give a little bit of a challenge to the AI when I'm doing my stuff.
You can see the exercises there. So we look at the tutorial video. You'll have 3 single target attacks, the row, the squat, and the chest press. They will just do damage to 1 enemy, minion, or champion. And then you have the AoE attacks. Any gamer, of course, though, the area of effect attacks. You had those at the bottom. So those will do less damage in one hit, but they'll be able to hit multiple people. So this really is, I mean, this is not just your simple, all right, load up your one exercise and go to town. There's a lot of thinking, hey, there's a lot of guys stacked up right here. Let me switch to an AoE attack. This really has a lot of, game mechanics you see in normal video games in a gym, which I think is one of my favorite parts.
Absolutely. I mean, when the AI throws something at you like a minion crew and they all come mobbing at you at once, you definitely want to switch up your attack. I mean, I've even reloaded a separate one and been like, oh, never mind. We're going this way. So it definitely keeps you on your toes, and it makes you actually work out muscle groups and stuff that maybe you didn't really want to that day as well. So all the way around, it's really good.
And we saw the win conditions there. They are all facing off against the same boss. First win condition, just the total number of crystals destroyed. If there is a tie, we'll go to point differential. You get 500 points for destroying a gate, 1,000 for destroying a crystal, so whoever has more points than the boss. And if that is somehow tied, we will go to a double tiebreaker, which, as we talked about, this is still a gym. There's still fitness involved, so it will be total volume worked out. And here is the Kamiko stats. This is just beyond my comprehension, Amber. And I mean, you're in gold. I'm a little silver. I mean, I look at this and I'm like, oh no, please, I would get just run over.
Oh yeah, this would completely crush me still too. I think my highest level champion I have at this point is like a 9. So yeah, this is intense. So these guys and what they're going to be doing, it's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, so you see the different damage types are in the same exercise group. So you've got fire, you've got water or ice, whatever you want to call it, and then you have wind. It has the triangle, like any other game, like a lot of other games have, where one is really strong against the other. Of course, water will deal double damage to fire, fire will deal double damage to wind, and wind will deal double damage to water. So there is some strategy of if they're deploying a wind champion, someone like a Winja, maybe you want to switch over to a fire attack to be able to run through that champion, because then you get more energy crystals or energy points to be able to summon your own champion. So there's going to be a lot of strategy here on how you want to handle her. And I think the other thing that I'm seeing is she has 2 level 30 wind attacks. So I would expect water champions to be very, very few and far between for any of our competitors today.
Absolutely. This is going to be a lot of upper body.
You see here's our first matchup. It is Shane and Preston. I think once we hop into it, if you haven't checked it out, you will immediately understand how it's going on. It is a lot like any other video game. But before we get to that, let's toss it over to our pre-match interview. Shane, who's competing against Preston, going to let us know how he thinks he's going to do in this matchup and how he can win.
All right, folks, I'm here with Earl VR, Black Box VR. He's getting ready to go into his arena battle. Got a few questions for you, Earl. How long have you been doing fitness?
How long have I been doing fitness? Probably pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
You know, I was an active kid, did sports and stuff like that, but been weightlifting for probably 20 years,
Okay.
you know, off and on.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Have you ever, let me ask you this, have you ever struggled with fitness at all before?
Oh, sure. I mean, I've struggled in the past, you know, just trying to keep it consistent, but pretty much just always, you know, get back on the train and just keep going.
Yeah,
So,
definitely, definitely. What's the hardest part about fitness, in your opinion?
consistency. You know, because you've got those temptations in life, you know, you stop going for a while, one day can turn into a week, but yeah, it's just finding the right program that works for you, that you enjoy, and just being consistent about it and keep going.
Definitely, for sure, for sure. And what do you like about Black Box VR?
How fun it is, you know, and it keeps me coming back. You know, I'm at home kind of, you know, just relaxing. I can jump on the app. I can check my stats, I can, you know, build my deck, and it gets me pumped for the next day or from whenever I'm gonna, you know, schedule my workout. So I love it just because of that.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And what are your thoughts on today's battle? Going into today's battle?
I'm a little nervous, you know, I do have to say that, you know, Preston's a strong competitor. So, but no, I'm a little nervous, but I think I can do it. You know, I'll just push as hard as I can.
Right on. That leads me to my next question is how do you feel about your competitor? You're going against one of the #1 seeds here in the Valley. What are your thoughts towards your opponent today?
I have full respect for my competitor, Preston. He's a strong competitor. He put up some big numbers, so hopefully I can, you know, match him or beat him. That's my goal.
Right on. Well, where do you see, last question, we'll finish with this one. Where do you see Black Box VR taking you in the future as far as fitness goes?
Really, I think just, you know, being consistent, you know, taking me into a more consistent, you know, phase of working out because, you know, it's so addicting, because it's just, you know, it's fun. And so I just, yeah, it wants me, I just want to keep coming back and keep doing it. So I think that's just more consistent working out.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Earl. Appreciate it, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
I don't know if Shane was being respectful or was maybe a little nervous about his chances here, because he was definitely, you know, Preston's pretty strong. I was expecting some more supreme confidence. We're going to kick things off right here so people can get a look at exactly what we were describing earlier in the pre-show, Amber.
Oh, sounds great.
Looks like we've got, no one's destroyed anything yet, and already Kamiko's got 2 champions that looks like the Shane has to deal with. So he's going to have to use a lot of damage just battling through those champions.
Yeah, and that way he can just get as much elixir as possible, and then he can deploy champions to support him while he's doing other exercises.
Okay, so as Amber mentioned, every time you destroy an enemy champion, you can summon your own with your elixir. You saw them on the right side of the screen right there. Doesn't look like Shane's going to deploy any, and right now he's just trying to keep his own side alive, while Preston's not really having any sort of trouble with anything attacking his own games.
Yeah, it looks like Preston's already up by 500 points there. No issues so far.
Switch it to the... Well, I'm just looking at those damage numbers, because the higher your attacks are, the more damage they do, and 1,200 is just a number I would never even dream of seeing on my screen right now.
I feel you there. Yeah, definitely Preston is a very strong competitor. I'm glad I don't have to face up against him.
And each attack has 3 different levels of damage. You can see it on the sort of the middle left of the screen there. There's just the base damage. Then there's supercharged, which you hit after a certain number of time, which does more damage. And then there's hysterical, which unlocks about 5 minutes into the match. That does 4 times damage. And if you get hysterical going on something that you're really strong at, you can power through a gate or a crystal incredibly quickly.
Yes, you can take it down very fast. It's super helpful, and the best way to do that is just full extension on your reps, and then just really pushing hard.
Yeah, and I think one thing that is really cool and definitely helps me out is there is a max rep limit. That is, you know, the game will say, hey, you've hit your max rep, you've got to do something else. Otherwise, the gamer in me be like, all right, we're just going full hysterical mode. We're just pumping them out until then. So I really like, you just see right there, actually, that you hit max reps, you got to switch it up, because you can't just keep spamming one exercise, because then you just have like really big arms and then you'd have no legs.
Or you'd end up collapsing from too many squats, and we'd have to will you out. So either way, it is good that we
Put the handles down and load up something new.
it's good that it forces us to mix it up a lot. And currently, right now, it looks like both Shane and Preston have 500 points up there on the board. Kimiko's still sitting at a good solid 0.
See, both of them have destroyed a gate. Looks like Shane went for the right one, Preston went for the left one, which does mean that the crystal is damageable.
Yes.
When there's nothing in the right lane for you to hit with your normal exercises. I did think we saw, as we see, it looks like Shane just trying to clear off. Once again, he's got a ton of champions in his gate. His right side gate is incredibly low.
It really is. I'm trying to see just about how much elixir he's got going on right now. Oh, he's got a decent amount. So if he chose to right now, he could deploy. Well, he's going to deploy a tank right now.
He's got a title staring right in his face, and look, that's the one thing I've noticed so far is Preston has had sort of a free lane. As we're looking at Shane right now, Shane's had to spend a lot of time dealing with enemy champions right on top of his gate, so he hasn't had a lot of time to do damage. I mean, you see the crystals at 99% right now.
Exactly, and that just really just shows like how much this will drive you, because what you want to do is you just want to get those guys out of your way as quickly as possible so you can get to that crystal. Oh, and there goes Shane's gate.
Yeah, so it is tied for now, but of course they're not competing against the boss, they're competing just against each other. And you see Preston, he was off screen. Not only did he get a crystal, he's got one crystal down. That crystal's worth 1,000 points, so he's already up by 1 right now and starting it over, because after you destroy crystals, there's about like a 10-second break, let you reset, let you get a little rest. So Shane's got a long way to go if he wants to catch up.
He really does at this point. That is going to be really hard to get that ground caught back up on.
Does have the double damage mode though, so he's going to be able to, if he wants to, rip right through that crystal if he can have an opportunity.
Absolutely. What is?
Trying to wait for this. There's a little bit of downtime where the machine that you can see in their little picture has to move the cables. So there's some time where you're kind of just sitting there waiting for it to move.
Yeah, it can only go so fast. That's why we typically like to do love the exercise and then deploy a champion while that configures, and that way it's just a good solid strategy that there is no gap happening.
Okay, you hear the supercharge for Shane, meaning his attack does double damage. He actually just hits the hysterical, so now it's doing 4 times the damage. I mean, you can see he's doing over 4,000 damage in attack to the crystal.
Yes.
Should be able to destroy this one and even things up for now. Yep, there it is.
There we go.
He's back, as we said. The overall points won't come into effect unless we have a tiebreaker. The main thing we're looking at right now is crystals destroyed. Right now, it looks like Preston has another gate down. So Shane's got to not only take down a gate, but then take down another crystal to keep up with Preston. But they are both tied with about 22 minutes left.
Yes, they are.
Do you have any sort of exercise pattern because I kind of just go like in the row. I go row, squats, chest press, or I go down to the lat pull down. I just kind of go in like a cycle.
I really let the AI again decide that for me. If I'm getting just say I already deployed a rock dude, so I've got a fire element out there, but then the next thing I know they're just gonna throw more fire at me. That's just not going to work. So then I'm going to probably switch my stuff up and I'm going to go over to a water exercise. I typically like to try to have 2 elements out on my side, and then my exercise becomes that third.
Yep.
And then everything's covered.
And I think I heard this from somebody, you may have to correct me if I'm wrong, we saw the levels of Kimiko. The players have their own levels as well. Do the NPCs take that into account? Like if you have a low fire level, that they're kind of going to maybe spam win champions to make you do more fire exercises? Is there sort of that kind of AI?
There is definitely a rumor that it does feel like it's well, it must have known I didn't want to do leg day today, because that's all it threw at me was just air. And once that happens, you get a bunch of big Sues and stuff thrown at you, you're just going to have to do deadlifts and squats.
We do see Preston has lost a gate, and he's waiting. He's got the Kimiko crystal at 79%. Shane's still looking for his first gate. Looks like he's going to deploy. He said queued up in exercise. You can see in the bottom right screen the machine moving, and he's going to deploy. Looks like a big rock dude while he's waiting for the machine to get ready.
That is Preston's favorite right there.
And each champion has, you can see here, sort of like a punch-slice combo. Mine are really simple. I look at what he's doing, I'm like, what? How many, like, mine are just like, slice, slice, punch, punch, and I'm good to go. He's got some pretty intense ones from the bigger level champions like the Rock Dude.
Absolutely. All of the tank classes have a more complex hit pattern, and it takes just a little bit longer to deploy them. It also costs more elixir to put them out. But it is worth it, especially as you level them up, and eventually, that health that they have is totally worth it.
Doesn't look like Preston has hit the double damage mode.
Not yet. Oh, but he's working on a tower.
So walk us through the towers, because I haven't unlocked those yet. I'm still a little bit too new. So walk us through the towers, Amber, and what they do and how you can kind of use them to your advantage in a game like this where you're trying to have the most crystals destroyed.
So as it works right now, we have a air tower, which is the Tesla coil, and then we have our fire tower. When you do an exercise related to that element, it actually ends up building up on his table there. You saw there's like a bar it needed to fill up. Once that's filled up, then you can go over, choose it, put it into the exercise hopper, and then you're going to end up doing, like right now, he's doing the tricep push down. So when you do that, that's going to build your fire tower. The faster you build it is going to give you a longer shield on top of that. You plop it on the field. The great thing about these is that they don't get affected by firehawks, and they don't disappear at the end of each round either.
Well, that's pretty nice, because as we talked about, when you destroy a crystal, which it looks like Preston has just done, so he has picked up now his second crystal. Shane's still trying to find his second. Everything resets. Your energy elixir resets to a preset value. I think it's 1,800. Every champion on the field just gets wiped. So having that more permanent structure, I mean, it does take a little bit of time where you're not doing damage, but that can really help you kind of defend your base and start to maybe put some damage on the other side. So I kind of like the tower strategy we saw from Preston.
It is super helpful, especially you have a choice of where you can place those. So it can keep the enemies back off your gate, and just ties them up, and then you can focus on the other lane if need be.
He does have a hysterical squat, but this time it's Preston who's got to be defending his own gate. He has the fire tower out there as well. It does look like, unfortunately, Shane has lost his own gate, so he might have to race against Kamiko there for Crystal. He does look like Kamiko's Crystal's at 6%, so he should win here after one more exercise and tie things up for a little bit.
Indeed. It looks like we're going to go with... What did Shane just load up in there? He's going to go water.
He just wants to power through as fast as possible. One more, maybe two? Yeah, it's not supercharged. We need one more. There we go. So he gets a little bit of break. He has caught back up to Preston. 2 crystals destroyed each, but you can see Preston already has a bunch of minions walking down that left lane to try and destroy another gate and get another crystal opened up for him. Crystals, of course, the name of the game for this. Usually it's just overall scores, how you beat whatever boss you're playing if you're in a single player mode, but for this it is number of crystals destroyed for Shane versus Preston. That's going to be our winner in advance to the next round.
Exactly. And Preston's been using the time-honored strategy of the Rock Dude and the Scotty combo. You want to put out your tank, and then you want to put out a ranged attack. You can put her, put Scotty back a little bit. She'll just keep wailing at that gate and the crystal. Super helpful, whereas Rock Dude just absorbs a ton of damage. So it's a really, really smart combo to use.
Yeah, I actually thought that was something that was really interesting, is that you mentioned it a little bit. You got the Firehawks that are, of course, as it kind of hints in the name, they are birds, so your melee champions can't attack them, so you either have to use the exercise or you can use something like a ranged champion, as you mentioned, to take them down. So I thought that was another really cool thing, that there's a lot of mental games in this where it's not, all right, let's just queue up an exercise and I'm just going to go to town. It's like, okay, where do I put my ranged champion? Okay, they're deploying a Firehawk on the other side. All right, I've got to now switch to a different exercise to take down the Firehawk, or I'm going to lose my own gate. So I think there's a lot of mental games in this. Not only are you working out your physical save, you're like, okay, where do I put this fire guy? Where are they going to go water? It's a lot of mental gymnastics you're doing on the fly of, okay, where do I need to put fire and what's the next attack I want to do? I think it's really, really cool how it's sort of a mental physical combination here.
It really is, and it's great. Inside of the app, that's where you get to go and pick those cards for your certain champions, and you build your deck out before you go in and level them up. It really changes the gameplay up. So we all like to share our favorites and our favorite combos. I get picked on a little bit for choosing to stick with my Sunbird, but having more than one, because see, the Firehawk will just clear the field. That's your power up. But you know, when you have things like Water Owl and Sunbird that just do a constant barrage from above, that forces the AI like, well, if you don't have any ranged on the field, then I'm good. So it is nice to have a good mix up inside of your deck.
Yeah, I hate it more than anything where I'm like, all right, I'm going to throw it down, my Winja on one side, maybe a Tidal on the other side, and then the AI is like, okay, I'm just going to put a flying minion out. I'm like, all right, listen here, computer. Don't mess with me right now. I wasted all my energy elixir. We do see that Preston's actually taking down his crystal, so he's got a pretty comfortable lead right now over Shane.
He really does. He's just knocking right through those crystals. Looks like right now he's going to work on his Tesla tower there, which is going to be the bicep curl. So he loaded that up behind him, and now he's going to deploy a champion. And I actually don't have the champion that he's deploying right now, so that hole punch pattern is not something I've got down yet. But I do hear Spark Crows are worth it, so once they're available, I'm supposed to snag them.
Yeah, it is really... And we've talked a lot. I mean, like, this is really, to me, and this is what been the biggest draw to me. It's the reason I keep coming back. There's a lot of video game essence where you don't just, you don't start out super overpowered and you can just run through everything. You have to rank up, as you mentioned. Once you get to a certain rank, you get the Spark Crows. Once you get to a certain level in Silver League, where I am, that's when you can unlock the tower. So there's a lot of reward for keep coming back over and over again. It doesn't feel like, once you get placed, you're like, okay, I've kind of beat the game. I have all the really strong stuff. The higher and higher you go, which of course the more fit you're getting, the better and better things you get, which I think is really, really cool and is another reason you want to keep going back as often as possible. So I really like how this game is designed. They know what gamers want, at least what I wanted, because this is perfect.
It really makes it easy to stick with a fitness plan, which is one of the hardest things. Consistency and adherence. It's tricky for anybody. Some people, you might think they make it look so easy, but it is not always easy to make yourself go work out. There's nothing there to push you when you're in a regular gym environment to go, oh, you're just going to do those extra reps on that chest press. Be like, nah, I'm going to go a little slower. I'm going to check my Instagram or something. Yep. This one's like, no, you do it or you lose, and nobody wants to lose. We're just driven to be competitive. People never start a game. They never open up Monopoly and go, oh, well, I'm going to lose today. We just don't do that. So this really gets into that. And then we just like that feedback loop of just, hey, you did this awesome thing. Here's your reward. Come back, do more. We'll give you more, and just keep building on that.
Yeah, and they don't really have a huge impact in the game, but the little minions you could see there's the Firehawk you're actually talking about.
Yep,
from Shane to clear the field. As I say, the little minions that you can kind of see, just the robot guys, every time you work out, I think it's as long as you work out within 78 hours, they get a little stronger. Yep. And so there is that sort of thing where you, just by continuously going once every 3 days, you're making just your other minions stronger. So there's that whole thing of, well, I don't want to break my streak. I don't want to have my minions reset because, they're the little guys. Like anyone who plays League of Legends will know the minions sometimes can help you out. So it's like, I can't let my minions get weaker, so I got to keep going every 3 days. There's a lot of, that I got to keep going back for XYZ reason for Black Box that I really, really like. And we do see Shane here. He's gotten this crystal pretty low. He might actually be able to keep pace with Preston here. He did all that work for a champion just to see the crystal get destroyed, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But he definitely, deploying that Firehawk like he did, got him some breathing room and gave him that ability to push through that.
Looks like he's also used both of his power-ups as well. I'm guessing based off the top there where there's no two green little dots. What are the power-ups? I have a couple of them. I don't really use them. Are they get more and more important the higher you get? I know it's like a grenade, or you can make your champions do double damage. Do they get a little bit more important at these diamond levels that we're seeing these two guys at?
Oh, absolutely. What will end up happening is you will unlock different levels of those power-ups. So there's always going to be your basic, you're going to have your supercharged, and then you're going to have your hysterical. Once you use a hysterical grenade, there's just no going back. It does so much damage. It's totally worth it. We also have healing, and there's the Berserk, which you said it boosts your champion. And of course, each rank of those goes up and varying percent. The healing's nice too because you can actually use it on your crystal.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
So they also have a freeze. I've actually accidentally used one. It wasn't intentional, but I didn't change up my deck before I went in, and I was like, I guess we're using this one. And it actually was pretty helpful because I needed to get their tank to hold off for a second while I got my stuff together because I had just kind of fell behind a bit. So it can be really helpful.
I do see that Preston has, I think, gotten another crystal down.
Yes.
So he is a full crystal ahead of Shane, and not only that, he's working on another one right now with just the chest press, and with no champions from Kamiko, he's kind of just able to do a ton of free damage to that crystal.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's really seizing an opportunity right now.
Nice shot.
And I see it briefly there. It's you have different weight sets. You can go light, medium, or heavy. If you go on heavy, that's the only time you can get hysterical. Do you just sit on heavy the whole time? Because the couple times I've gone, I'm like, I can do heavy for like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, nope, we're going medium. We're gonna go medium to close things out here.
It does. It depends on what my last workout I did and kind of how I'm feeling. There are some people that they can just do heavy a lot. I use it strategically, so it's when I really was seeing my gait getting whittled down. I can take my strongest element, which for me currently is squats, and then I'll bump that up to heavy and just crush them as quickly as possible, because you do get that extra damage. But there are some days where it's a light day, and you're just like, well, it's going to be more reps and more champions, and wear them down a little bit slower. So again, another way to use strategy is using those different weight selections as well.
She's got about 8 minutes left. We see Preston up a crystal, has an open gate on the left side, so he can attack the crystal once he clears out those minions. And the other thing that I do want to mention, you can kind of see, and this is something that people brought up to me since you're not at a gym, you're not being supervised, is, well, how do you know you're doing the workout properly? The AI does a good job. You can kind of see the circles on Preston's screen right now of making sure you have proper form, and if the game doesn't give you proper form, it will tell you, hey, look, your form's not proper, you're doing the reps too slow, and it'll stop you. And I think that's really cool if it keeps you safe and you don't just accidentally pull a muscle or do something silly because you don't have that personal trainer you might have at a gym.
Absolutely. So one thing too is with having the weight of that headset on you too is it's really crucial to keep your neck in the proper position. So just leaning your head one way or to the other, or focusing down too much, because a lot of times when you start lifting, you'll put your chin to your chest, and our game will yell at you and say, nope, stop that, because we don't want you to strain something. So yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah, they also have really nice, I'm sure these guys don't need it, but the really nice demo videos for someone like me who really hadn't probably gone to a gym since high school when I was forced to for gym class. It's nice to be like, okay, what is an actual, like, what is a proper squat, or what is a proper, lat pull down supposed to look like? And it's nice to be able to say, okay, that's you guys have the videos there that these guys don't use, but for a new guy like me, it was actually really helpful. Okay, this is what proper form looks like. I like that as well.
It is helpful. I had actually never done a weighted squat before. With all of the sports and stuff I did growing up, squats just alone were more than enough. Why make them harder? So what we ended up doing with this was, like, I had to use those muscles in a whole other way. So yeah, it is helpful, and it's a good reference point too. We wanted to bridge that gap between people. So if you had never been in a gym before, you could come in and not feel lost. If you've never played a game before, it's actually not too overwhelming as well. So it's an interesting fence to be on both sides of up.
Do you see that? I think Shane has actually caught up. I did see him at 6,000 points. Unfortunately for him, Preston has the crystal there, which would be his 5th one. He's actually going to take it down there. He had a nice little double damage mode that he was able to just, with the supercharged deadlift, just kind of rip down about 40% of that crystal, and now he's back in the lead, safe and sound here with only 6 minutes left.
Yeah, Preston is definitely set right now. Again, looks like he's going for another tower. Loaded that up. He's checking out his field, checking things out, making sure everything's where it needs to be.
Sees the enemy title in the left lane.
Yeah, you know, that's something that makes me super nervous. Is as soon as I start working on one of these towers, and the next thing I know, the AI is throwing their tanks at me, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like, nope, please stop. Just can you hold on a second? Just a little bit. I mean, I do like how there is the weaknesses, though. So title is, as the water, you could do, you know, the rows or the lap pull downs if you really want to, and you have that super effective damage. So he's just going to do that right there. He's going to put the lap pull down so he can kind of just mow through that title real quickly.
Yep, and for me, like, my row is actually weaker than my lat pull down, so there's always that thing to juggle too. So if I really need to take a bigger one down, I'm going to choose what my strongest exercise is, because I can even up the weight if necessary.
Just under 5 minutes left in our first matchup here. Preston has 5 crystals. Shane has 4. Neither of them have a gate down, so Shane's going to have to pull out a small miracle here if he wants to catch back up and maybe force some sort of tiebreaker, because right now points aren't the important part. It is crystals destroyed, which do give you the most points, and it's 5 crystals for Preston and 4 for Shane.
And with Shane's right gate there, that's getting, once he gets under 50%, that's when I start getting pretty nervous.
Yeah, because if Kamiko's able to take down one of their crystals, it would reset everything, so you lose any progress you get on your gate. So that's the last thing you want, and with them usually focusing on one lane, there's usually going to be one gate that is just a little bit lower, and there's a title that we've talked about, one of the tanks coming down for Shane on the right side, so he'll do the lap pull down as well and try and bust through that tank.
Looks like Shane was taking a breather there for a minute, collecting his thoughts.
Probably, I mean, he's pretty close, actually. I mean, like I said, he's just got to take one crystal down. Unfortunately for him, Preston is sitting nice and pretty here. He's got that right gate at 58%, so he might even maybe burn down another crystal. I mean, there you go. You can hear the maintain proper form. That I think it really is helpful for new people to make sure they don't do something worse trying to work out. But yeah, I think Shane's going to be in a little world of hurt as we see these towers coming out from Preston. He might have his eyes on another crystal just to really secure this victory.
It really was. It looks like he's going for it right now. A little hard to see around the tower.
He's got those 3 he's got those 4 range minions or champions you were talking about, all set up nicely behind that tower.
Yep, that is, I would say, one of the in-house strategies right there. It's a good one.
How many of these is he going to deploy? 5?
If you've got the elixir, it's best to spend it, because again, it will reset back to that 1800 at the end of the round. So I mean, saving it unless you're just going to push a whole bunch out, it's just not worth it.
Looks like he's setting another tower up here. I mean, he's just letting the range minions do all the work for him. They're just taking down a ton of that crystal, and he's just kind of, you know, setting up a nice little tower there for some defense.
Exactly, and this is a really good strategy.
I think if he gets this crystal, he'll probably be pretty well set. Yeah, he's going to actually take it down before he can build his tower, and now he's at 6. Shane just at 4 with 2 minutes left. And I think Preston's pretty much wrapped this one up for the most part.
I believe so.
And he has double damage mode. I'd love to see him just absolutely destroy another crystal, but with just 2 minutes left, that might be a little too much of him to ask of him.
That would be a tricky feat, to go through a gate and then all the way through a crystal.
Got the double damage mode. And every time I hear those, I'm like, all right, I'm picking my strongest rep, and I'm just going to go to town.
Exactly. Oh, he's going to use a grenade?
He's looking for it, I think.
Yeah, what is he going for? Ah, right over there, the torture.
I think we saw he used his Firehawk earlier, so he won't have that, unfortunately. But looks like maybe Shane has lost a gate. Oh no, looks like Shane took down a gate, so maybe he can take down a crystal here in the final minute.
Yeah, and he's got his Sunbird over there just wearing down that crystal. Again, aerial attacks, not something to discount at all.
Aerial attacks, range attacks seem incredibly powerful. He's got a minute left for 60%. He's down 2 crystals though, so I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off, but it's always nice to get that feel-good crystal at the very, very end of a round.
Yeah, there's nothing more satisfying than that just last few seconds and then you get your crystal. It's amazing what your body comes up with when it feels that. It's like, oh, I do have a little bit more to go.
Yeah, you hear the double damage mode with a few minutes left, or you hear that hysterical, and you're like, all right, we can do this. We're done with our workout in 20 seconds, body. We can power through. Unfortunately, I don't think Shane will find that crystal. He's got too many.
He's got too much in his way right now.
Yeah, he's got too many enemy champions. So, does look like it'll be a 6 crystal to 4 crystal victory for Preston. As we mentioned, the score would matter normally if you were just trying to rank up. For this one, it is just overall crystals destroyed. So Preston will take the victory there, but still a really impressive performance for both of them. And I mean, Preston is giving me the strat clearly, which is just summon a tower once I get them and then just put as many ranged champions behind it, and you can just let them do all the work.
Exactly, and one thing too is just keep your ranged attacks separated enough so that an area of effect doesn't ever get all of them at once. I did the bad thing one time of getting my Scotties a little too close together one time.
Well, if you want to be able to, go on a hike, you need some more fuel, maybe for your next Black Box VR workout, Bang Energy is supporting the Black Box VR Winter Invitational. If you want that sustained energy as well as peak mental and physical performance, and that's something you're going to need if you're going to Black Box VR. Not only are you going to have to be able to rip out the reps, you're going to have to say, all right, how do I counter a fire champion again? Well, what am I looking for? What exercise? If you want any of that, Bang Energy Drink is the drink for you. It's potent brain and body fuel. And they're helping to sponsor the Black Box VR Winter Invitational that we just saw. We've got 3 more matches left here, and that first match was pretty impressive. I'll be curious to see if anyone can match just 6 crystals overall. I know no one's going against Preston. He's already won, but 6 crystals against a diamond-level boss feels like a ton of work for him. So I'll be curious if anyone else can even get 6 crystals destroyed in our remaining matchups.
Yeah, that's a huge feat, just to have a diamond-level boss and get that many crystals. That many crystals in general, I don't think I've ever got anything more than 4. So it's definitely an impressive feat.
You can see Shane and Preston there on the second matchup on the left side there. So Preston has advanced. We're not doing all of them today. If we do get word of maybe another matchup that has gone final, we can provide you the score. But we're going to go now to the bottom side of the left bracket. We'll have Josh and Ryan in our next matchup coming up. And I'll be really curious to see, like I said, if anyone can get 6 and how these guys do, because this is a diamond-level boss that is the highest level in Black Box VR. So these are going to be guys who have been going for a while, who are the guys that, you see when you leave the gym, like, I want to be like that guy, and now that guy's playing video games as well. So that's even more cool to me. Usually I see it, I'm like, okay, that guy probably went to the gym like 5 times this week. Like, I don't want to go to the gym. Now I see him and I'm like, wait, this guy's playing a video game just like me? That's pretty cool. And you know what? Let's hear from Preston. Let's have our post-game interview with our first winner of the night.
All right, I'm here with Preston. He just finished his arena battle. Boy, that really sounded like a tough one. I could hear you outside the booth over here. How do you think you did? What was the I don't know. How do you think you did overall? It was pretty interesting to listen to.
Yeah, it was great. Final score was 9,500 to 500, so 9,000 point differential. But man, the opponent surprised me a few times. Like, I thought I was in the clear, putting a few buildings out there and doing a few spark crows and whatnot, but a few times I had bad timing.
Yeah.
And waited around a little bit. But overall, feel pretty gassed. Great workout and happy with the score. So,
well, good deal.
Fun.
Good deal. Well, I think Earl's got definitely some work to do after that performance like that. I could definitely see you working in there.
Hold up, it works.
All right, thanks, Preston.
Thank you.
Any words for anyone else that's going to be competing in this tournament here this week?
No, man, just push it. Yeah, I mean, when you're hitting that wall, push past it, dig deep, and can't wait to come back in for hopefully the next round.
All right, thanks, Preston.
Thank you.
Preston has advanced. I mean, I think you mentioned it before we saw that. He's one of the top seeds, and he's one of the top seeds for a reason.
It's true. It is true. And that definitely does sound like a Preston right after a workout. He does push very hard every time, even when something like this isn't on the table.
I know you guys have talked about, putting something that's like on Twitch where it's just one person doing their workout, and I'm like, how would you even talk during that? I mean, you heard how out of breath Preston was. I'm like, how would you interact with anyone and talk with anyone? Because I'm out of breath like within a minute. I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna talk to anyone. I don't know how you could possibly stream this game on Twitch and talk to a chat, as we see a little bit of our next matchup here with Ryan and Josh.